In court documents obtained by TMZ and shared with us here at Fox 11, Trevor Bauer's accuser says when she met the 30-year-old pitcher at his home in Pasadena, she got much more than rough consensual.
A few moments later.
Your text, need daddy to choke me out, being an absolute to try to get in on his $51 million. You say this wasn't a setup. How can you expect anyone to believe that?
One eternity later.
Judge has ordered a San Diego woman who's accused former LA Dodger pitcher Trevor Bauer of sexual assault, ordered her to pay him nearly $310,000.
This woman blatantly lied to try and steal tens of millions from this baseball player named Trevor Bauer. She caused him to get suspended without pay for multiple seasons. In my opinion, $300,000 is not enough and is a mere slap on the wrist compared to what she tried to do to him.
In her almost 90-page declaration, the 27-year-old woman describes the 2 nights she spent with Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer, the first in April, the second in May. The court documents include images of the accuser's injuries, but Fox 11 is not showing the photos or using the name of the accuser at this time, in policy with not identifying potential victims of abuse. Bauer's attorney says these text messages released to Larry Brown Sports show the woman requested the rough encounters. In one text, she writes, "Never been more turned on in my life. Give me all the pain." The attorney confirming the authenticity of the text to Fox 11, but not speaking on camera Thursday. Neither is the Pasadena Police Department, which is investigating the allegations. So far, Bauer faces no charges. Meantime, Bauer is still on the Dodgers roster. Manager Dave Roberts fielding questions about his status today.
As of now, we're kind of in the middle of letting the commissioner's office, Major League Baseball, handle this. It's in their hands. So our plan is he is going to start on Sunday.
Asked whether Roberts has spoken with Bauer?
I have talked to Trevor.
Can you share anything about that conversation?
I can't. I don't.
So it's glaringly obvious she set this whole thing up as a cash grab. Her entire intentions from the jump was to get millions any way possible, including false accusations. Unfortunately for her, there's mountains of evidence exposing her fraud. But as we know, she's only going to get a slap on the wrist, like they always do.
What he produced was text messages showing, forgive me, this isn't a nice way of putting it, but it's literally true, that she asked for it, that she wanted rough sex with him. They had 2 sexual encounters, and that she literally was asking for him to beat her up, to choke her out, to slap her, to punch her. And that is why she was denied the original restraining order, the permanent restraining order. Let me read to you what the judge said when denying the permanent restraining order. The judge said, Ms. Hill's injuries and stances, merely seeing photographs such as these, would serve as a per se condemnation of the perpetrator of such injuries. But the judge went on to say that she believed Hill, quote, had objectively voiced consent to specific acts of roughness, and the injuries she suffered could be viewed as a natural consequences of the acts to which she consented. Petitioner had and has the right to engage in any kind of sex as a consenting adult that she wants with another consenting adult. She was not ambiguous about wanting rough sex in the party's first encounter and wanting rougher sex in the second encounter, the judge ruled, adding that Mr. Bauer did not pursue the woman or threaten to coerce her into sexual activity. And before I give you the floor, I'm just going to read for the audience those texts, okay, that the judge was looking at that did not make their way around all the publications that condemned Trevor Bauer like that when they saw the pictures of the injuries. Here's number 1. He writes, we only have segments, but he writes to her, "Yes, ma'am, whatever you want." She writes, "Butt off when it's time to choke me out. Thanks, you're the best." He writes, "You want to go out, huh?" She writes, "See, that was a game changer." This is clearly after the first interlude. He writes, "Tell me more." She responds, "Never been more turned on in my life. Give me all the pain. Roar." Then on page 2, she writes, "Now that I know what it feels like to wake up from it, though it'll probably feel just as good to wake up from that." She's talking about getting choked out. He writes, God, you just turned me on so much. She writes, mission accomplished then. He writes, now I just want my arm around your neck from behind. She responds, do it harder. And they keep going like this. I mean, I could go.
Now imagine if she didn't make the mistake of sending those messages and instead only said that in person. The chances of his name being cleared would be substantially lower. However, those messages aren't the only piece of evidence.
Information like this video, which was taken by Lindsay Hill herself the morning after she claimed she was brutally attacked, emotionally traumatized, and desperate to get away from me. And now we have the metadata, so there can be no dispute. It was taken mere minutes before she left my house on the morning of May 16th, 2021, without my knowledge or consent, of course. In it, you can see her lying in bed next to me while I'm sleeping, smirking at the camera without a care in the world, or any marks on her face. I think it paints a pretty clear picture of what actually happened the evening of May 15th and why the video was originally concealed from us.
Lindsay, I think there are a lot of sexual assault survivors who would say you don't look traumatized there and you don't look beaten. And this is allegedly after you say that he brutally attacked you and you had bruises all over your body. You had bruises all over your face. I don't see any bruises there. And I certainly don't see a woman who's just been traumatized by something horrible.
Again, super valid. I think that I woke up that morning, and the best way to explain that video is I hadn't seen my entire body yet. I had no idea what had happened, considering, I was unconscious for most of it. I had no idea what had happened to my full body.
But if it was that severe, wouldn't you already feel pain? Wouldn't you already have bruises on your face? I mean, you say that he punched you in the face, but where are the bruises?
Yeah, so that's something that has not, been publicly released, or he won't talk about. But over and over again in this process, we have handed him pictures that were taken between 20 and 30 minutes right after that video was taken, of the bruising starting to develop, of the scratching, and it has been time and time again verified through metadata. It was a matter of being in the correct lighting, the spacing to take the right thing. And another difference is, iPhone camera versus a Snapchat recording that. So there is solid bulletproof evidence of those bruising marks, scratches, things that were provided to their team from.
The bruising didn't form over several hours of the night until you woke up in the morning, and didn't even form in the video you recorded before you left. Yet you want us to believe that it magically conveniently appeared 30 minutes after you left. I guess her entire approach was, if I can make myself look like a victim, I can deter anyone from asking questions or calling me a liar.
He also released these text messages that came out in court indicating that you had planned the whole thing out. So I want to read some of these texts from you to a friend between the two of you before you met Trevor, this one. Next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers. Okay. Victim is an interesting choice of words. I'm going to allow you a chance to explain yourself. But after you agreed to meet, you asked your friend what you should steal. Your friend answered his money. He says, another one from you to a friend, I'm going to his house Wednesday. I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll. With a screenshot in which you told him, tryouts don't scare me, Bauer. Pick a day and I am there. Here are some more after you and Trevor met up. Net worth is $51 million, to which your friend responds, you better secure that bag. Your text, need daddy to choke me out, being an absolute to try to get in on his $51 million. You say this wasn't a setup. How can you expect anyone to believe that?
That's a great question. I really appreciate you having me on to even have this conversation. Obviously, there's a lot going on around this, so I really appreciate people who are asking questions about it. The first thing I want to say is, I think that Trevor did this intentionally with the text messages and how he framed this video. There's several things in it that are not correct. And I just want to start out by saying, it's so valid for people to question those text messages. But the root of the problem here is that he is presenting this as one conversation, when in reality he had thousands of messages to choose from, took those, made it look sequential, which it was not. There is no combined screenshot of those things going on one after the other. And as I said last night as well, there's no text message that ever exists. Otherwise he would have, put it out there, combining, anything about a setup through rough finances all in one. Those were handpicked, and they were from multiple different conversations all before we met up. And I think that the video in general doesn't even talk about what actually happened between us two, which is what would have come out during a jury trial. These were all messages that happened before. And then, of course, the video is so valid as well for people to ask questions about. But I do think that video was entirely misleading. He also references the restraining order hearing, which people also have questions about. He says that he was cleared of any wrongdoing, which is actually incorrect. In our civil case, the judge had actually ruled that he had not been cleared of any wrongdoing, and that was a federal court judge.
I like how she deflected from the question, so she could quickly think of another unbelievable answer to choke up. He chose those messages because it exposes the fraud that you are. I know his lawyers are having a field day with her ridiculous responses and excuses.
Now, Bauer and Hill both came to a settlement for their dueling lawsuits about 2 years ago. He had sued her for defamation and she sued him for sexual assault, but her case was going pretty bad. So essentially the settlement was, you go and live your life, I'll go and live my life, but we can't tell any more lies or do anything like that. Now, after the settlement, Hill went on social media and said that essentially Trevor Bauer gave her $300,000 to drop her lawsuit. And she didn't just say it once, she didn't say it twice, she said it 21 times. Now, since the settlement agreement had an NDA in it, each alleged violation of that NDA cost $10,000. So Bauer was saying, hey, she owes me $200,000 because she's going and saying these lies. So Lindsay just decided not to show up to the lawsuit, and the judge had no choice but to rule in Bauer's favor and not only give him the $220,000, but threw an extra $90,000 on top of that.
Former Major League Baseball pitcher Trevor Bauer, out of the game since 2021 after being accused of sexual assault, will receive more than $300,000 in damages from his accuser after a judge said she violated the terms of their settlement agreement. A Los Angeles Superior Court judge on Tuesday ordered Lindsay Hill to pay the damages after Hill's attorneys sent a letter to Bauer's attorneys detailing a $300,000 insurance payment she received. The original settlement between the two parties stipulated no money be paid by either side. Bauer filed a new suit in October 2024 alleging Hill violated the terms of the agreement by claiming multiple times on social media that she received financial compensation from him. When Hill failed to contest the new suit, Judge Daniel Crowley ruled in Bauer's favor.
So even after she was given a way out, where all she had to do was stop lying, she decided it would be a good idea to lie again, a total of 21 times, claiming he paid her to drop the case, which we know didn't happen. If you enjoyed this video, I promise you'll enjoy this next video. I will see you there.